Emily Schrader. Emily, good to see you. Now, I covered this live yesterday on GB News. And yes, a lot of people walked out, but it was interesting the groups of people that actually stayed and listened. Many of the Middle Eastern delegates also stayed and listened. There were applause as well as boos, and it was an incredibly strong speech that Netanyahu delivered. What do you make of what you saw?
I think that first and foremost, what's the most interesting about the walkout is who stayed for the other speeches. If you are staying for the speeches of North Korea or the Islamic Republic of Iran, I think your concern isn't actually with human rights when you dramatically walk out in orchestration with multiple other countries against Netanyahu. But, I digress. Obviously, Netanyahu is known for having very strong, also combative speeches at the United Nations. There's a great deal of hypocrisy that goes on the United Nations, and I think that he was right about a lot of the accusations that he has made. I do agree with him about the Palestinian state being a mark of shame, not in that there's anything wrong with the Palestinian state inherently, but to do so at a time when you still have 48 hostages, to have multiple countries essentially rewarding Hamas for the activities of October 7th, that just this week Hamas officials said to Western media that they do not regret and they would do it again. I think that's extremely concerning, and it sets a very bad precedent, not only for Israel, but for any nation that is forced into the position of Israel on October 7th and being forced to defend their own people and fight a war. You have to allow Western democracies to actually win wars. We can't allow terrorist dictatorships to dictate the terms, and that's what's happening right now.
Emily, I think one of the most telling sentences in the entire speech was, Israel will not recognise a Palestinian state. It would be madness to do so. We also know that Gaza and Hamas have said the same thing. So for the likes of the UK, which is one of the people that has said they will recognise a Palestinian state, it's almost condescending, isn't it? For Keir Starmer to say, yes, we'll recognise Palestine, when the two countries actually involved in this are going to do no such thing.
Well, it's the height of really imperialism to have foreign nations be declaring yes or no in regards to a conflict that ultimately needs to be decided at the end of the day between the two parties. And unfortunately, what we see right now is that there isn't a strong, coherent, definitely not united Palestinian leadership. We're not opposed to negotiations, but when you don't have a leadership other than a terrorist dictatorship that is currently actively holding people hostage, what is Israel supposed to do realistically? We're all for a deal that ends the war and brings these hostages home, but we cannot do so with a government that doesn't exist, and we certainly cannot do so with a terrorist organization like Hamas, which is something that many of these countries have already acknowledged. And so to respond to everything happening by saying, oh, we're going to recognize the state of Palestine is irresponsible. It's damaging to Israelis, but even more than that, it's damaging to Palestinians who are forced to live under terrorist organizations like Hamas.
And do you think that, we have, and France and Canada have grandly declared that, we will recognise a state of Palestine, but Hamas will have nothing to do with it? What do you think, seriously, going forward? The chances are that Hamas will have nothing to do with running that part of the world.
Well, I think that depends a lot on whether or not you actually allow Israel to finish the job when it comes to dealing with Hamas, whether or not there is a deal, a comprehensive deal that ensures that Hamas does not remain in power in any capacity. But with the way that the international community has responded to the events of October 7th and the aftermath, I don't have any confidence in that. A Palestinian state should never have even been recognized until Hamas is already gone. And the problem is that you've given them no incentive to actually leave power when the international community is responding by recognizing a Palestinian state. So we've set everything in motion in the polar opposite direction of what it needs to be, not only for Israel and the Palestinians, but for the international community as well. This is a terrible precedent for hostage taking. Terrible.
OK, Emily, thank you very much for joining us.